Hi, Assalamualaikum. Today we will present about theory presentation about sport netball. But before we start, let me introduce my group members first. So, first of all, my name is Nurfatia binti Raja Zafendi. My other group mate is Siti Nurifara Suha binti Supardi, Muhammad Hanif Husaini bin Muhammad and Muhammad Zulimi bin Nazib. Now, let's move to first slide, which is introduction to netball. So, netball is similar to basketball, but it's different based on the rules, equipment, and number of the player. In netball, we have two teams, which is each team have 7 players on the court. And netball, only goal attack and goal shooter can shoot to the goal. And in netball, the goal count when the ball passing the goal. Now, let's move to athlete profile. Here, we choose 7 athletes that the beginner to make the new FSR netball team. First is Ainur Syafiqah binti Azmi, 90 years old, 50 kg and 156 cm, and the BMI is 20.5 and the position is center and wing attack. Next is Alisa binti Agus, 18 years old, 56 kg, 158 cm, and the BMI is 22.4 and the position is wing defend and goal defend. Next is Hartini binti Zakaria, which is 18 years old, 58 kg, 160 cm for the hip and 22.7 for the BMI. The position is goal shooter and goal attack. Next is Nabila Mikaela binti Yusri, 90 years old, 55 kg and 163 for the hip and the BMI is 20.7 and the position is goal defend and goalkeeper. Next, Shazrin binti Sabri, which is 19 years old and 58 kg, 156 cm for the hip and the BMI is 23.8. The position is goal shooter and wing attack. And the last one is Fatin Hartini binti Idris, 90 years old, 54 kg and 161 for the hip and the BMI is 20.8. The position is goalkeeper.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Nurifara Suha and I'm going to present about game demand. Okay, game demand involve of energy system, physical preparation, technical preparation, tactical preparation, and psychological preparation. I will explain one by one for all of that. Okay, for the first one is energy system. There are 3 energy system, which is the ATP-PC system, lactic acid system, and oxidative system. The key performance factor is the ATP-PC system and lactic acid energy system. Oxidative system is low because only certain position that use oxidative energy system. ATP-PC system are used for bursts of energy, and lactic acid energy system are also used for burst energy in order to get the ball or to defend the ball. These two systems are mostly used in the game than the oxidative system, because for oxidative system only certain position in the netball position are use the oxidative energy system, which is for example like center usually use the oxidative energy system is because center has to run from one end of the court to the other, because center is the main the person that control the ball. If the netball game is really intense, center will be running constantly, so that the center will use oxidative energy system. Okay, next we go to the physical preparation. Okay, in the table you're going to see the speed, agility, endurance, muscular strength, flexibility, power, and body fat is the important things to achieve high performance. Okay, for the speed, the test is 5 meter and 10 meter. For agility, modify 505 CODS. For endurance, 30 until 15 IFT, which is the intermittent fitness test. For flexibility, we can measure by the sit and reach test. For power is a counter movement jump, and for body fat is a skin fold assessment. In the netball game, the evidence of the speed and agility in the netball is it involved in the decisive anaerobic components such as sprinting, accelerating, change direction, and so on. Okay, so in netball game, they use anaerobic endurance and also aerobic endurance, because for anaerobic endurance, it involves the decisive anaerobic components such as, like I said before, which is the jumping, sprinting, changing pace, turning, acceleration and deceleration the body. These decisive anaerobic components are forceful and explosive, so that it require near maximum levels of muscular strength and power production. For muscular strength, it involves the movement of jumping, throwing the ball, and so on. Okay, for the flexibility, it is important in the table, like you can see, because by having flexibility, it can help to prevent injuries by reducing the chance of straining or pulling a muscle. Okay, the last one is body fat. We use, like I said before, skin fold assessment. Why body fat is important thing in netball game? Because is to make sure there is a non-functional mass which can affect the performance by the decrease proportion and exercise economy, which the muscular system will continuously overcome the body's inertia. Exercise economy is the amount of energy spent per unit of velocity. Okay, right now we're going to the technical preparation. In the technical preparation, these are all the technique that need to be used in netball in order to achieve high performance. The technique is passing skill, dodging skill, shooting skill, catching skill, landing skill, and jumping skill. Passing skill is important in netball because it's the ways to deliver the ball. The example of passing skill is bounce pass, chest pass, overhead pass, and other more. Okay, for the dodging are also important in order to make a space to receive the ball, because the opponent will follow us wherever we go to defend the attacker, so that the attacker will do the dodging skill to get away from the opponents. For the shooting skill, these are the most important of all of the skill, because if the team having a sharpshooter, there will advantage for the team, because whenever the ball are received by the goal shooter or a goal attacker, which is the sharpshooter, then the team will get the score, because a sharpshooter is a skilled person who will guarantee to score the point. For the catching skill is the key performance factor, because if the athlete catch the ball wrongly without any techniques, the ball will fall down to the floor. If the ball fall down to the floor, there will be a fall, or the referee will blow a whistle, because if the athletes take the ball after the ball is fall from their hand, that is foul. Okay, for the landing skill, most of the beginner netball team will have this problem. Landing skill is important in order to minimum the fall that that the team will going to do in the game. If the athletes use wrong landing skill, the athlete will going to do many stepping fall because the landing skill is not correct. So landing skill is important in order to achieve high performance. For the last one is a jumping. Jumping is important because to catch higher ball, playing high ball is the advantage of the team, so that the team need to have a power to jump in order to catch the ball and get to control the ball. Okay, we go to the next is tactical preparation, which is in the table shows that decision making, attacking system and defensive system. For the decision making, it's necessary for the selection and application of appropriate techniques or combination of the techniques. Decision making are used in the tactical situation, which detects the techniques to be used and how the techniques will going to be performed. For example, for goal attack need to make a decision whether they need to shoot or they need to pass to other positions such as goal shooter or center or wing attack. Another example is center. Who the center want to pass the ball to the wing attack or goal defense or goal attack. This tactical preparation is not about winning the game, but is to develop the ability to choose the best option that available. Next is attacking system. Attacking is crucial in a netball. It helps to get the team to control the ball and the pace of the game, and as well as outsmart the opposition. However, an attack need to be planned so that other players on the team are able to support the control. The most lethal attack is one that is able to throw the defense off balance. Okay, next we're going to the defensive system. Defensive system are also important because a diligent defender can destroy a shooter and make an enormous impact on the game. The function of defense is to gain possession of the ball from the attacking team through an interception. If the team has a great defense, the team will get to control the ball because whenever the opponent get the ball, the defense will intercept the ball and your team will get the ball. Okay, the last game of game demand is psychological preparation. Okay, in this psychological preparation, there is three, as you can see in the table, which is the imagery, concentration and self-talk. For imagery is the person will imagine what they're going to do in their brain. For concentration is the athletes need to keep concentrate, keep focus in the game, even though they are behind on the scoreboard or the final whistle we're going to blow or anything like that. For the self-talk is self-talking, which is the athletes will talk to themselves about the positive words. For example, like when in the game, the situation is the team are less scared to control the ball. So, the athletes need to talk to themselves that they can intercept the ball and get to their team so that their team can control the ball.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, is my name Muhammad Ani Husaini bin Muhammad. In this video, I'm going to explain about energy system demand and nutrition in netball sport. Energy system demand that I have three. First is ATP PCR system energy, and second is lactic acid energy system, and the third is oxidative energy system. First energy system demand is the ATP PC energy system. The first is not require oxygen to produce the energy in short time period of exercise, which means that during the production of the energy is in short time, this system is not involved of oxygen to produce energy because the oxygen is need more time process to produce the energy. The second is produce quick burst energy. It is because when the energy is produced in the short time, this can lead the persons to get the quick burst energy during training or the game. The third is fast to get fatigue. As we know, this system is not include the oxygens, so that the athlete will easy to get the fatigue in short time period. In the netball, they are use this energy system when quick burst reaction or movement, like rebounding the ball, quickly intercepting the ball. Next is the lactic acid energy system. This is similar with the ATP PC system because this lactic acid energy system, as we know, they are not using the oxygens during producing the energy. Use the glycogens to produce the energy. As we know, glycogen is the storage of carbohydrates that we can use to be the energy after we use the energy from ATP PC energy system. Use the between 30 seconds and 3 minutes depending on intensity of exercise or game. The next is can cause muscle soreness or muscle cramp. This is because, as we know, the lactic acid energy system is the hydrogen ion. Hydrogen ion is need the oxygens to carry out them from the muscle to avoid any muscle cramp or soreness. In the netball, they are used when the player need to go fast or already use all ATP PC energy system store. Next is the oxidative energy system. Oxidative energy system is known as an aerobic system. This oxidative energy system require oxygen to produce energy because this system is long process and will produce more energy during that time. Produced by product of carbon dioxide and water. This finally product of this system is carbon dioxide and water, which means that during the person is exhale, they are carry out the carbon dioxide from their body and the water. In the netball, they are useful for catching a ball or putting the arm over the ball, and can lead athlete to slow get fatigue in the game or during training because this system is involved of oxygens.
Okay, now we proceed to the training and conditioning for netball. So, based on the game demand for the netball, the method of training that's suitable to be used is interval training. Interval training, we go to the interval training. So, interval training consists of alternating periods of high intensity effort with periods of low intensity. It helps to improve cardiovascular endurance. The reason why we choose interval training over continuous training for this training because the interval training is better at increasing your VO2 max, which is the amount of oxygen your body can be used during intense exercise. So it's helped to improve VO2 max amongst netball players a lot. For this interval training, we choose to do 50-meter sprint and 50-meter slow jump with a volume of 85% of your automax. The duration to be set is 6 minutes. Next, for the resistance training. The resistance training is a form of exercise that improves muscular strength and endurance of the athletes. By doing the exercise, it's as easy as you move your body against any resistance. Even by moving your body against gravity or by adding weight can be used in the resistance training. Based on our lesson plan, proceed to plyometric training. So, the aim of doing plyometric training is to produce power. Power is actually a combination of strength and speed. So, by doing the plyometric training, it helps to improve your jumping, to getting higher. As in the netball, there is a jumping action. There's a lot of jumping action, and then this exercise involves a stretch of the muscles. So based on our lesson plan, the plyometric training or plyometric exercise we choose is the jump squat and the burpees. Even burpees is a total body workout, but there's involvement of the jumping action that will help in the build of your muscle powers. Now we go for speed training. The speed training is to be used to improve the quickness of movement of your limb, involve your hand or your legs. The speed training is a combination of the maximum speed, basic strength, and the speed endurance, and this help tribute your acceleration.
And the next slide is biomechanical analysis. There are two skills for this biomechanical analysis, which is the shooting skill and passing skill. For shooting skill, there is a basic netball shot, and for the passing skill is bound pass skill. Before I explain more about the skill, let's watch this video. Okay, for the shooting skill, which is the basic netball shot, there is 3 phases for this skill, which is the preparation phase, force production phase, and a release phase. In the preparation phase, you can see there is no big difference between the amateur, which is the beginner, and the professional. The shoulder is a flexion and body is in a straight line. Okay, for the force production phase, as you can see, the angle of the beginner is 63 degrees, and for the professional is 76 degrees. And for the bending of the knee, the flexion of the knee is 117 degree, and for the professional is 135 degrees of knee flexion. And then for the release phase, the professional athletes will do a plantar flexion. The angle of the plantar flexion is 106 degree, and for the beginner is 93 degree. This plantar flexion will helps to produce force to the ball to reach the ring. Okay, next is the passing skill, which is the bounce pass skill. Okay, first thing is a body posture. As you can see in the slide, the body posture of the beginner is not bend the knee. The knee is not flexion only a little bit, and if compared with the professional that bend that flex their knee with angle 148 degrees and 127 degrees. The knee flexion helps to produce force from their body to the ball so that the ball will go powerfully to the teammates. So if compare the beginner and the professional ball will go fast than the beginner ball. Okay, for the distance of the ball, the right technique is to throw the ball 2 per 3 part of the distance. And as you can see, the beginner did not throw the ball at the right biomechanic, at the right technique. The beginner throw the ball to 1 per third. The opponent can take the ball if the athlete pass like this because the time was delayed. If the ball throw at the 2 per third, your teammates will fastly get the ball, so there is no chance for the opponent to get the ball. In this slide is a psychological analysis. The importance of this psychological analysis is to determine the suitable mental training for the netball athletes by doing the psychological analysis. The situation that involves psychological and that appear in the netball is when the athletes is being able to stick to a demanding training program, being able to come back when the team are behind on the scoreboard, playing to the final whistle regardless, ensuring that preparation and recovery for games are optimal, being aware when the opposition is controlling the game, and having the strong belief that the team will get to control the ball. And the last one is not allowing negative thought influence the game. These are all situations that shows that psychological in netball. So the psychological components that are needed in this netball is self-belief, perseverance, confidence, goal commitment, and picking under pressure. For example, for self-belief, in the situation where the team are behind on the scoreboard, so if the athlete have self-belief, they will use a self-talk to give confidence, like I can do this, I can get the ball and score the ball, I can get to control the ball. Okay, for goal commitment is the teams will work hard to achieve their goal. If the athlete have a strong goal commitment, they will try so hard to win the competition or to achieve the goal. For the picking under pressure is when the team are behind on the scoreboard, it will pressure the athlete. So even though they are in a pressure, but they can make a right decision and still have the spirit to win the game. The solution or the mental training that we're going to train the athletes due to this psychological analysis is self-talk, imagery, goal setting, implementing internal and external motivating factors, and concentration.
Next, I will explain about the nutrition. The nutrition that consumed in this netball sport is the carbohydrate, protein, and the water. The first is carbohydrate. As we know, the carbohydrate is the good source to provide the energy and to recovery back the energy to the body. The first is to ensure liver and muscle store of glycogen are full, so that the athlete do not miss to take the carbohydrate for each day to make sure the source of glycogen are full to provide them energy. Next is consume carbohydrate 1 to 4 hours before exercise with 1 to 4 gram carbohydrate per kilogram of player. This is because before we doing the exercise, we need to make sure the body is enough of energy, so that we need to take the carbohydrate 1 to 4 hours before exercise. The second is consume 1 to 1.2 gram per kilogram for every hours during game seasons, which means is to improve the performance and to recovery back the energy to the body. Next is to aim to the both performance and recovery. This is not easy to get affected during game or training. It's also the fatted and help athlete to maintain the glucose level and promoting use of carbohydrate as a fuel, and can get this athlete can get the carbohydrate from gel cup or bar cup. Next is the protein. The protein is the most important in netball sport. This is because can help to develop, growth, and repair muscle tissue, and can improve performance, which is can make sure the all muscle tissue in good condition, and the athlete should consume 20 to 25 gram of the protein after training or after match. Because the protein can repair any muscle tissue that has been broken, to initiate the recovery process and maximize muscle protein synthesis. Next is consume. The athlete need to consume 1.2 gram to 1.7 gram per day per kilogram of body weight per day. This can improve the performance. The next is the water. As we know, the water is the main thing that need to all persons to consume enough amount of water to the body, because the water can maintain the temperature, body fluid, and others. The netball player need to consume 500 millimeter to 600 millimeter water 2 hours before start the game. This is to keep or maintain the body in ready condition or good condition to doing any exercise. Consume 250 millimeter to 500 millimeter water during warm up, because when we do a warm up, the sweating will be occurred, and the water also can lost with the exhalations. Next is need to consume 150 millimeter to 300 millimeter athlete need to consume during break. This is because to recovery back water that lost during the game. The last but not least is the athlete need to consume 1 to 2 liter water intake after the game. This is because to make sure the body is full recovery that can improve their performance.
For flexibility, what can we define by flexibility? Flexibility is the range of motion in a joint or group of joint, or the ability to move joints effectively through a complete range of motion. So, flexibility training includes stretching exercise to lengthen the muscle and may include activity like yoga or tai chi. Improving your flexibility can help you move more comfortable throughout the day. In netball, flexibility are needed in stretch during the ball receiving and catching activity. It can be divided into 4, which is static stretching, dynamic stretching, ballistic stretching, and PNF stretching. For static stretching is a form of stretching when no motion is involved. There are 2 types of static stretching, which is a passive stretch and active static stretch. Passive static stretch are stretch where you don't even contribute an additional force to the stretch, while the active static is vice versa of the passive static stretch. And the static stretch will allow your muscles to loosen up while increasing flexibility and range of motion. So, the exercise or the example of the exercise can you see in here is a 2 touch and half kneeling. For the dynamic stretch, dynamic stretch are active movement where joints and muscles go through a full range of motion. They can be used to help warm up your body before exercising. Dynamic stretch can be functional and mimic the movement of the activity or sport you're about to perform. For example, a netballer will do the lunges and alternating squat. As in the netball, there will be 2 of these movement look like. It's ballistic stretch. So, ballistic stretch is a warm-up stretch that involves fast and sudden movement to increase flexibility. It may be used by athletes to increase muscle power and range of motion. However, it is not recommended to do because this ballistic stretch have the chances to get injured in the exercise because the bouncing action that will harm your knee joint or any other joint. For example, the shoulder rotation or the swinging exercise for leg. The proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, known as PNF stretching. So PNF is one of the best methods for improving passive flexibility. In only a few minutes, it is possible to make drastic and enduring improvement to your flexibility and range of motion. PNF stretching has been proven to improve active and passive range of motion. It can be used to supplement daily static stretching and has been shown to help athletes improve performance and make speedy gains in range of motion. Not only does it increase flexibility, but it can also improve your muscular strength. Okay, so the picture here, there are the example of the PNF stretching. PNF stretching is the stretching which we need to do it by pairs because there is a active and passive stretch. For example, they need someone to help to push your leg until it feel more discomfort. That's why they need to do it by pairs.
Okay, periodization plan. In periodization plan, there is a preparatory phase, competition phase, and transition phase. As you can see, in the preparatory phase, there is general preparation phase and specific preparation phase. For GPP, We're going to train for 4 months, which is in the month of January and until April. Okay, for the SPP, we're going to train around for 3 months, and then after that, pre-competition for 3 months and competition in 1 month. In the below, there is a graph. The graph, the pink graph will define physical activities. The yellow one is for technical, the blue one is for tactical, and the purple one is psychological. In the beginning of the year, or exactly in the GPP, the training will involve more physical activities than tactical and technical, because we want to develop the cardiovascular fitness, muscular strength, muscular endurance, muscular power, core strength, and flexibility. The progression is the physical will reduce and the technical will increase, and when the period is close, the SPP will start to do some tactical drills or tactical play. For the psychological, we're going to develop in the start of the training and when the competition is around the corner, because it helps the athlete to have more and good cognitive strategy and so on. For the intensity, in the beginning of the training, the volume will be high and the intensity will be low, and will progression to the intensity high and the volume is low. For weekly training plan, we choose microcycles number 1, which is the January month, and the microcycles is 4, which is week of 4 in the training, and it above the general preparation phase. Okay. The week overall intensity is 58%. For the first month, which is the January month, we will start with the 3 sessions per week, because the progression is 3 sessions per week until the 5 sessions per week, 5 or 6 sessions per week. Okay, for this, the 4th week 3 session is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For Monday, we're going to do the cardiovascular endurance and muscular endurance training. For Wednesday is speed and agility training, and Friday is muscular strength training. The intensity, as you can see in the right side, is for month is medium. Wednesday is very low, because the volume is high, so the intensity is low. For Friday is low, because in this first month the volume will be high and intensity will be low. For 1 session training plan, start with the introduction, which is we're going to briefing about the training objective and the flow of the session, and then start with the warm-up that involve jog, dynamic stretching, and netball drills, and then next is a main activity, which is interval training and circuit training. After that, we're going to do a cooling down to avoid injury, and the last one is feedback, which is we're going to give a feedback to the athlete whether they have made mistake or give compliment to them.
The conclusion is all of this training is suitable for the beginner athlete to train their skill and to fit their fitness level, and it also to help the athlete beginner adapt and prepare physical and mental by follow the periodizations with the discipline.